to get you here. We're talking about social media and ice and like all these videos and how intense it is and like detoxing and purposely avoiding like social media in general. You know what I mean? Because it sucks your soul out. I was telling Sarah when she got in that like I watched an hour just scrolling this morning and I couldn't believe it. Like it just sucked me in and my energy had shifted by the end of it. I was angry. And so how do we like stay abreast, but at the same time, not give our energy to it or perpetuate it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to show people what's happening, but what's it going to do at the same time on the end of a computer? And I don't know. It's so frustrating. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, hi. I have an ex in California, and his parents aren't documented, and so he's first generation Mexican, and he's just like every day we're in fear. Like I don't know, what to do. Like if they're just going to be picked up and taken away, and then the thought of your parent in a fucking cage, you know what I mean? Just waiting. And then people in Florida are taking pictures at this gator
I can't
Alcatraz.
even.
And there was
I
a
can't even.
and there was a post that said, these are the people whose grandparents were taking pictures at lynchings. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like that kind of energy. And it's just, oh,
Somebody was putting up like signs that said like this is a concentration camp and like the guy was out there like trying to get him down. Like you're policing that, but you're not policing people sitting there like celebrating it. It's just crazy.
it is. It is. It's so again, where do you find that line of like not acquiescing and going along with it, you know? Oh, hi everyone. We got the purgatory pod here. Yay. How is everyone?
You're totally muted, Greg.
Hey, Diana, how are you? I was going to reach out and I totally forgot. I just got so sidetracked. I was hoping to see you. Sarah, my sister, I don't know. Diana was at the yoga club or yoga at the Borough. So
Okay.
he was the one in digital marketing, I think
Hi.
you said, right?
Yes.
Hi, nice. I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yay. Well, let's give it another 5 minutes because last time I excluded so many people without realizing it. It was gatekeeping the shit out of this. So, uh, how many of you got through the book? How many are done with the book?
Fine. I'm on chapter 30.
Okay, perfect.
I'm almost done.
Perfect. No, this is great. So I want to break it up into two sections. And I was joking around like we'll have a practical exam, but I really want to I
I would
want
ace
to
it.
yeah. Because we're all at different places with this stuff, right? For some of us, it's going to be really woo-woo, but then I want to try and build our confidence in a lot of this stuff, like realizing we're not alone, that there are things going on outside of our realm of understanding, and it's available to us. So I can't wait to get some of your opinions on this and see what your reactions were. So.
Can somebody, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm really technology not savvy. Um, how do I get the background and not be blurry? Because it's really weird to me.
It's under your video.
So
So you
I'm
click the
learning too.
arrow, the little carrot up, and then video settings.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
So one participant by multiple could share my okay,
you.
so I'm going to have to bounce back and forth before the recording because I want to share my screen, but share sound. No, we don't need sound. Um, but I want to make sure everyone can see it. So can you guys see the welcome screen?
Yes.
Okay. So when I look over here though,
It is a full moon
it is in
in Taurus.
Capricorn.
Oh, is it Capricorn? Oh no,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think so. Because not that it's my least favorite sign for any Capricorns
Mhm.
here, but it is the hardest working one, which is
I
very not my nature. In the
I
sense
got
of,
like a Channy um
what was it? Something about Taurus and Capricorn. Now I don't remember.
There's so much happening this month if we're talking energies, though. So much happening. Has anyone been listening or picking up on this Uranus energy stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear the question.
So okay, so again, this is all take it with a grain of salt, right? But I am of the belief that you can history goes in cycles. There's energies that work in the planetary alignments and yada, 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 astrology. So Uranus just moved into Gemini. And the last time, I think it takes 84 years for it to complete a
Yep.
cycle.
Yep.
And so the last time we were here was the Second World War.
Yep.
The time before that was the Civil War. And then the
Mm-hmm.
time before that was like the Revolutionary War.
Yep.
So it's this idea of like restructuring, this energy of like the shift. And if you look at anything in the news right now, obviously, if you're alive, if you feel energy at all, if you're aware of your neighbor, there's a lot happening, and it's curious. So I'm looking forward to exploring astrology a little later on, because
Yay.
we're gonna, yeah, I know that was for you, Greg, because we're gonna, again, for people who don't understand it, it's like a language, like anything else. The more you understand it, the more you can navigate, you don't need it, but it's amazing. It's amazing what it does,
Yeah, I have no clue what you mean by Uranus moving into Gemini. Still I'm a Gemini too.
Uranus, whatever. I'm sorry, I wanted to do jokes that were crude, but it's all good. Let's get started. Is everyone here? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
admit it.
think what someone mentioned about Taurus earlier is that Taurus just came out of Uranus, which
There it
is
is.
why everyone was hearing about Taurus this, Taurus that, Taurus whatever. But being that the full moon is moving into Capricorn, Capricorn is one of those restructuring moons. So it's the Gemini in Uranus, along with the full moon in Capricorn, is like one of those times when we really need to look at our lives and kind of see what's working and what's not working. And it's going to become very apparent during this full moon. And it's like, okay, here's a pile of crap. What can I sift out of it? What do I want to keep? What's serving me? What's not serving me? And that's kind of what this moon is about. I'm about to drop a post on my socials about this moon. So
Nice.
you
I
guys can check
definitely
that out later if you want.
foundational, I've heard a lot too,
Mhm.
like
Yep.
exactly what's working, what's not, like this
Hmm.
structure. It's a reinvention kind of energy, like
Yeah.
yeah, rebuilding.
Yay.
Well, yay, guys, let's get started. So I will share screen again. Just a welcome and do. Again, bear with me with this. So but it's so good to see everyone. I am so happy you guys are here, and we're growing already. So that shows me there's a need and there's a want for this and this community. So I'm really looking forward to just connecting today. Today, I want it to be open and just, you don't have to speak, but I want to hear what you have to say because that's why I do this. I learn and grow when others teach me, and vice versa. So don't be afraid to speak. I am excited for that. Most of you said how many? Okay, raise your hand if you have finished the book.
Just about. Yeah.
I finished it couple years ago, but I'm rereading it. It's been a
Good.
minute.
Perfect. Okay, so good. So what I was saying, and I did it in a little video that I'm splitting this up, and we're going to do just dissect a lot of the themes today and uh, just our experiences. I want to hear like what stories resonated. Have you had any life experiences that are similar, or was this shit way far out and ridiculous? Like, obviously, if you're part of a spiritual book club, you want to be part of it, and you got some beliefs and ideas, and you're open. But if you're not, I want to hear you too, because I think practicality is a very important part of this kind of spirituality. You know what I mean? We need to be grounded just as much as we're wanting to astral travel. So there's a balance, right? And that's why I chose the next book, and we'll talk about that later, but it's going to explore a lot of scientific applications and studies that have been done about a lot of these traditional New Age disciplines and ideas and concepts. So I can't wait to get that balance back and forth. So, um, okay, so let's go on with, here we go. So I want to hear, what are some of our first impressions? Like for those of you who just picked this up and cold read it right out the gate, what we could talk about her style and stuff like that. I think one reason I really liked her is because she's very forthcoming. You can tell she's got that teacher energy, right? She's letting you know her view of the cosmos, everything that she's, she's getting, it doesn't sound super filtered, right? Whether we believe that or not. I think a good psychic, I learned this a long time ago, should always confirm what you already know. And that is just a 101. If you ever get a reading or if you are seeking out spiritual guidance from someone like in this facet, they should always confirm what you already know. It should resonate. You know what I mean? There's, you may get new information, but if it's way out and like, if it hits funny, if it makes you fearful, it's not there. It should always, your spirit knows. We know what we need within us, right? It's all there. It's just accessing it. So yeah, so let's hear some of, what were your opinions? First reading it, what'd you think?
What stuck out most to me is that how Laura invites us to see the world through a more connected, compassionate lens. Whether or not you believe on the other side, the book encourages us to stay open-minded in every moment.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the major themes, right?
Yes. I also find her storytelling to be, her manner of speaking to be very nurturing, very loving, which is nice. I used an audiobook, so it was very nice to hear her voice as she was reading through the story.
I think Daniela said she was crying and got tissue stuck in her eye, right?
I did. I too listened to the audiobook. And
Now I want to.
yeah. I made the mistake of starting it while I was at work. So I just started an audiobook and I sit at reception. And so like people see like I'm very visible. And I just waterworks all day because I wasn't expecting. I guess like when I started it, I was like, okay, great. A how-to on how to read the signs. And I was like, it's gonna be very 101. I'm very excited. And then launched right into a story about like a child death. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I have a toddler. This is too much.
Oh, it's so crazy how like you hit it on the head when you said nurturing. She definitely has that like that mother energy throughout. And I love that because when you're talking grieving and these really intense transition periods for families, it grief can keep you stuck. It can destroy you. You know what I mean? I've seen, a broken heart, you can die of a broken heart kind of thing, but it's that energy of like, some people really just can't get past it. And that's why seeing this book and just hearing these stories and people getting the validation they need just to know that we're going to see each other again. There's something else going on. You know what I mean? They're still here. It's energy. You know what I mean? They're still with us. So I love that. Who else?
I was maybe a little bit more to the other side. I definitely was not like closed off to obviously anything because I, decided to join this club and read this book. But the story started to get a little formulaic in my mind after a while. Um, so it's just like, wow, all of these stories just have gloriously happy endings. That's convenient, and like obviously she has to pick the stories that stuck out the most to her and like stuck with her. And, she's creating a narrative here. It all makes sense. But I kind of went in and out of skepticism, I guess, going through the book.
Curious. I do agree 100%. By the end of the book, it was like, I know what's going to happen next. In the last like
exactly.
five chapters, I was like, okay, we get it. Like,
Yeah.
and It's funny because I was thinking if I had all these amazing experiences, I would want to share them, right?
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I don't know. The interconnectedness, maybe there's a story that resonates with someone for a reason. But yeah, it was like, okay, we get it. But then again, I'm an optimist, so I've been here. I love it.
I was, I guess wasn't really skeptical per se, but it just kept, it was that redundancy got
Redundant.
tiresome for me. Like, I mean, they're all like nice, beautiful stories, but I'm in chapter 30, so I'm towards the end. I guess I was thinking it would be more like hands-on tools sort of thing. And maybe that's what I'm getting in 30 and 31, this last little bit, but it didn't have the depth that I thought I would be getting in some of that rather than just stories, which are nice, but it was just a little too much of the storytelling and not of the, I guess I thought again there'd be a little bit more of the tools and building on, what we may already know or have, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. This
But
is
I did the audiobook too, or am doing it, and I love that she has a good voice for it because that can really make or break a story,
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, same here. I think that's part of what kept me engaged also
yep,
was
yep,
the
yeah,
audio.
yeah.
this was definitely a beginning book because I want to see
Uh,
where we're at. You know what I mean? If I
that
just
makes
came out the
sense.
gate with, this is how you get to the seventh plane, a lot it might not be accessible for a lot of people. So I really want to set a groundwork for us before we get into some of the the energy work stuff too. There's a book I've been sitting on, how to what is it? Discovering your psychic type or your intuitive type. Fascinating. You want to talk about some crazy stuff because it's just, I don't know. I can't wait. I can't wait to do it. But yes, I wanted to get our groundwork in. So good, good. So now I know where to go from here a little. Wendy, what about you?
I think on some levels I agree with some of the like, like the repetitiveness or whatever. I did find myself thinking that a couple times, but I think like when I was thinking about it a little deeper, I thought, okay, this is for people. She's trying to convince the skeptic, right?
Yeah.
She's trying to convince people to believe what they feel, what they see, what they know are messages for them. And so I think for me, I was like, okay, it it softened the like repetitiveness of the storytelling because she's just trying to give like a bajillion different examples of that. Like, yes, it can just be a butterfly or just a dragonfly. And I think people like brush those off because they are so like run of the mill every day. Like, oh, you saw a butterfly, big deal. That doesn't mean anything. But
Mm.
if you were in that moment where you're thinking about a loved one or you're thinking about a situation and that has significance to you, then that is the sign. It's not just the butterfly that you saw. It's that you saw that butterfly at that moment or at the time that you needed to. And so I don't know. I think it can be like if you're already sort of into this sort of stuff, it could probably it feels very basic, but like you said, that's sort of the idea to start out that way and just sort of like explore like, is this something you believe in? Do you believe in signs from the other side or from, lost loved ones or not?
Mm. That's good. No, I am a firm believer we're the ones who assign meaning to this, right? That's the whole point of it. It's how you feel. It's for you. Anything can be a sign. Anything can be a mirror to us. It's just we're the ones who put the meaning into it. And that's the idea that spirit knows us better than we know ourselves. So it sends us what's going to resonate if we start listening, you know? Good, good. Okay, so let's go back with did anyone else? I'm sorry, anyone else? There's a lot of speaking coming up, so don't worry if you don't get a chance to say something. We have like a lot coming. So, um,
Um,
yeah, go for
oh,
it.
I just like I got this book. I don't know if you remember our friend Catherine. She's like she used to be a chef at Disney many years ago. Her and I became very good friends and we're still very good friends. And she sent me this book when I went through a period of like 18 months where 7 people died. And it was like from my grandmother to my father to like friends and like uncles and aunts and stuff. And it was really hard to read. And because I suffer from overperformance, I was also in a mediumship group, um, reading this book, going through what I was going through, and then kind of learning about my gift. And so it was hard. There was a lot of crying. And reading it again this time, like, yes, there's that repetitiveness, but like I get it. I get why. I think like if this is new to you, um, sometimes we need to hear things a lot of times to like get it. And I remember when I was reading this book the first time and she was talking about the butterfly, I started to see little red cardinals. And those are something my dad and I shared. So even like last week, I saw one when I was pulling up and I'd had a particularly hard day at work. And I get home and there's just a little cardinal in the yard. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, he's here. Like, all right. So I still really love this book. I think I have all of her books. Um, but it's been a different sort of perspective reading it this time. I'm not so heartbroken this time. I can absorb it differently. I think last time I was just like, oh my God, and just crying, it's like for days. Um, and then going to my mediumship group and just like trauma dumping on them. God bless them because they just put up with me because I knew what was going on. Um, so yeah, I really like this book and it's kind of a gift and to reread it. So thank you for that.
I'm so happy with this. Let's get into just to keep it moving, because again, I want to get more to the stories that kind of resonated with us and why. But um, has anyone been asking for signs since this? Has anyone actually started to like do the work, like to start the connection?
I asked for a sign. I haven't gotten anything yet,
Yeah.
but you know that. I told you that last month or whatever. Which one? Well, I'm not going to say because I haven't gotten it yet. But um, yeah, I don't know why. Like I've lived in this world, but it never occurred to me to ask directly for the sign. Like I was always like, send me a sign if this is the right thing to do, but to be like, actually send me something specific. And so
Yeah.
I'll know. And so like I that never clicked for me until this book. And so I'm trying that this month.
Oh, so that's exactly what we're going to do between now and the next time we meet. So that's the practical portion. I got a little, yeah, like some experiments for us.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and then we'll come back and share what we get. Okay, I want to talk about this idea of the great shift. So she kind of begins the book with this. Has anyone, what did we think about this? What does the great shift mean? And to you individually, I guess. And then uh, do you think you've experienced something like this or like something similar? Like, I guess an opening of awareness, but how did you guys define this when she was talking about the great shift? How did it resonate?
I don't actually remember this part.
Oh, okay, good. So, okay. So I want to say it's in the intro. Let me see. Again, that groundwork on pretty much she's just talking about this opening of your awareness to seeing the magic, as I call it, right? This idea of where is it? It's going to be on page 16 of the introduction, XVI. But where you start seeing spirit or seeing the universe working in a different way. Again, I use these terms interchangeably. I think it's again all energy and it's science we just don't understand yet, really, like because the universe, nature, there's natural laws, things work in a certain way. And I feel like we're just
We
finding
are
out
now
what
approaching Amelia Street and Westmoreland Drive. Transfer to lane 8.
there we go. Sorry. So we're just getting to a place where we can understand it in terms that are palatable, right? So has anyone experienced what they would call a great shift?
I did like about 6 years ago, because I wouldn't have, I was very much scientific based sort of person, I guess, the way I grew up, and didn't understand, like I always considered myself spiritual, but I had no idea the depth that and what that actually meant or was and can be and is, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Yes,
But some
absolutely.
life experiences showed me otherwise, and a lot of it was in being in very dark places and having traumatic events happening. And um, honestly, that's sometimes when I feel closest to source still, is
Yeah.
when I'm in darker places, which is pissing me off at times because um, I feel like it's a real barrier for me to want to, live my life a certain way and be a certain type of way and positive and good energy. But I found for me that it's harder to do sometimes, at least in the phases I've had so far these last 6 years, where I've been struggling in the last couple years to connect more on a regular basis. And like, do I have to go back to, my dark shadow time frame to be able to access it? No, but I know that's not the case, but I'm just like struggling more with it currently. And it
Mm.
feels like it's harder lately. But it's me, like I'm the barrier somehow or something. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I feel I'm like pretty sure I'm going through the same thing right now. And I'm like, whatever block I'm experiencing right now, I know I did to myself and I'm trying to like actively undo it, but it feels harder than it used to be. I don't know. I can't explain.
Yeah, it was like so much for a while, and now it's like crickets
Mm.
for me. And so the idea of whatever experiments or things to try sounds exciting. Because I tried a little bit after, like, but I also feel like I was just getting in the way of myself. Like, and even just like, okay, what do I pick? What do I choose? Even like of a sign to like communicate with a loved one on the other side. Like, I couldn't even figure out what to pick.
Mm. One of my favorite memes is of this little Asian boy. He's got to be 4 or 5 with a boot on his face. Has anyone seen this? Where he's like on the ground and there's a boot on his face. And it says me what I like a spiritual awakening is. And then the next part of the meme is his hand in the boot pushing it on his face. So like he's the one causing his own suffering. And this idea, I just she doesn't say, she omits, like you said, conveniently, that for me, and I think for most of us, spiritual awakening is really fucking hard. It is hard. And it takes you to the depths and the deep and these dark parts of our lives when we have to reach out, when we have to look for that source, right? We have to connect because if we don't, it's just that's it, right? That's our limit. And oh, yes, she didn't talk
It's in
about
the
that part.
darkness where that change happens. So you have to get
Absolutely.
into the darkness. And I think
Yep.
when we're in the darkness, we're forced to sit with the things that we can normally in our day-to-day lives, we can kind of skirt around. We're like faced with it and we're desperate to have that communication. So I think that a lot of the disconnect can kind of be when you're bringing that into your day-to-day life, understanding that like you don't have to be in a moment of crisis in order to like
Yes.
accept, I call them winks, things throughout my day that happen that I know are spirit. Um, to like see those little things throughout my day. I don't have to be in a moment of desperation to see it. I just have to be looking for it.
I love that. And that's where I want to get us, because when I say this magic piece, like life can be magic, find the magic. This,
Mhm.
it can be every day. It can be, I feel like I'm at a place after a lot of healing, a lot of work, a lot of seeking spirit out, in times good and bad. Now I have this open alignment, this flow where it's there's a conversation. Sarah, you've said this before. It's like this connection with spirit is like or the universe, it's a conversation. So if you don't acknowledge it, or if you don't keep it open, if you don't uh, invest, then it withers, it atrophies, right? Hmm.
And I'm a
Yeah.
big proponent of like showing gratitude when I do get signs or I
Yes,
see things. Like I always say, like, thank you, spirit. Like I continue that, like creating a dialogue and showing my gratitude that they are communicating with me in a way.
absolutely. Gratitude is the number one. Like that's the highest vibration. Love and gratitude is just the epitome of the highest energy we can embody. So if you can stay in that energy, it's work. It's work. It's hard. And we all know this, but you can do it. And if you do it, that's where again, this positive thinking stuff can be really overwhelming, but there is something to that law of attraction. What you put out comes back to you. And if you're always offering gratitude and thanks and just joy for what you have already, you attract more of it. And vice versa. If you're always looking for the negative, you're going to attract more of that because that's all you're seeing. That's what you're focusing on, right? Oh, I love this. Okay. Synchronicity. Let's talk about fate and free will. This is a big one, especially for my empirical kids. I think this is, I still kind of vacillate back and forth on this from time to time. Like, is everything for a reason? Is everything like everything, Like, but according to Jackson, all of these connections, all these happenings are for a reason. Do you guys agree? What do you think about this? Is it too like, oh, that just takes care of everything. Nothing matters because it's all for a reason, right? Like,
Can you hear
Huh?
me? Amanda,
No.
I'm traveling. I'm in a car. Oh,
hi.
hi. This is like, let me. So I don't know how well my reception is. I'm on the way up north with my friend Michelle, so she's getting to hear all of this too. So,
Hi, Michelle.
hello, hello, hello. Let me boomer my way through this.
Hey, hey.
Okay. There's Michelle. She's driving, going to her place up north. So I don't want you to look up my nose. So I don't. Okay. So this is Michelle doesn't know about this either, but so my experience with this has been like I have been very, very skeptical. But things have happened to me that I really can't explain. And like things that really moved me, which I'll talk about later. But like, so this experience with, listening to a medium talk, I'm like, okay, and when we start talking about God, I instantly go negative because I'm not a God person.
Mhm.
Um,
Church trauma.
but your God is your God. I don't care how people worship. So that kind of like, oh, am I going to keep listening to it? Because I don't know. But they're talking as she's talking about the signs. I'm like, okay, so over like the last 6 months or so, I have been trying to learn how to use tarot cards. And so it's fascinating to me. So I have a VR headset, and I have recently met, like about almost a year ago, I met somebody on their poker and talked. He lives in Canada, and we've had an online relationship for months. And I decided, like it's gonna work. And I decided that I didn't want to talk to him anymore. and he didn't take it very well. So I'm reading this book at the same time, and I was like, okay, if we're listening to the signs, it's like fine. I want signs. If him and I are meant to be, I want actual signs. And so later that day, I have to get a new roof on my barn. Later that day, my contractor, the first one, came straight to me, and he's like, I pulled over on the side of the road today on the way here because look, and he holds a picture of a double rainbow. He's like, there was a double rainbow on my way here. And I was like, hey, so I want to send me a firefly, or I mean a dragonfly, because I never see dragonflies down, see them up north. And so the next day I turned on a documentary, and the second segment was about the life cycle of a dragonfly. And I was like, oh my God, right? So then out of the blue, my other
Coincidence,
friend
right?
sent me a
Coincidence.
picture of a rainbow. And I was like, what the
I
Then I was laying out in the sun on my deck, and I felt something on my toe, and it was a fly, and I went to move the fly, and a dragonfly came and landed on my toe. And at that point, I texted Dave. I was like, what the hell?
now I could sit
And
over
then
here
I
and be
went
like,
garden, and a
okay,
dragonfly landed on my tomato plant right in front of me. I'm like, okay, I guess I maybe made the wrong choice. I don't know.
this is
It was like
how,
I was bombarded.
yeah, this is how it starts. If you open to it, you start to see it. But if we,
But like
again,
this
it's,
is the funny part of that is you asked for the specific signs, you got them, and then you're still saying, I don't know, when it's clearly you've got the sign. And I think that's like the beauty of this is that we try to
Well,
rationalize
and that's
it
what I asked Dave. I was like, if
until
we try to ignore those signs, are they going to keep following us? Because I
yeah.
already decided, and it's not working.
so funny. Now you got to
It
be
was insane,
careful.
though. It's like coincidence, maybe, but that's a lot of coincidence.
So one of the things she talks about in the beginning is there's a lot of conditioning, and that's a huge point. Like we got to remember from the time we are like we go to school, primary school, we are taught to use the logical side, right? And we're very divorced and disconnected from our intuitive nature and our bodies and our feelings and the our bodies will know energy before our mind will, long before, right? It will, it's our intuition works that way, and energy doesn't lie. So I think there is a unlearning that has to happen, and that you're going to see in a lot of these books that we encounter. There is we have to expand our mind to be open, curious, to consider that there's more going on than we've been taught. And that is a huge facet of all of this, especially if you haven't been. Sarah and I come from church culture. There is so much programming and like indoctrination and like it's
I can
just
relate to the God thing because when I hear God, I
mhm,
automatically go into a
ick.
defensive space and
Yeah,
I get worked
yeah,
up just because
yeah.
of my trauma.
Which is so fucked up because if we're talking about source, like whatever animates you animates me, where does that come from? The source of this, that is beautiful. That's something beautiful to explore, but it's been perverted and twisted and marred. Oh, that's excellent. I love that, Amanda. Now you're good. I'm going to ask that you get tons of dragonflies regardless all the time now. But you also got to be careful of like, is this guy supposed to be for me? Like, if you're looking for an
Yeah,
answer, sometimes you'll
I'm
find.
a firm believer. Like if you're even asking, that should be enough. Like trust your gut. Like if you want out, there's a reason you want out. There's something there.
Insecurity, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's different than
But
if
I
you
got
keep
some
touching like
signs, like
some
one after
things
the
you
other.
don't want to deal with.
It was insane, and they keep coming. So
Yeah, spirit is definitely persistent.
A
So
lot of work gets done too in relationships because it's easy to put things into practice when you're on your own. And then when you're in a relationship, somebody's mirroring that back to you. And then you kind of have to put your money where your mouth is. And that's when it gets difficult, when you have to like really show up for yourself, put boundaries down, or, you know, confidence, like with self-esteem issues, things like that. Like that's where the work gets done.
so good. Okay, let's get it going a little further. What do we got? I want to, so synchronicity, fate, free will, teams of light. Was the teams of light hard for anyone? Was there some resistance for people? This concept of let's throw it out. Who believed in an afterlife and who's still skeptical, and where are we at with that?
I
I
believe,
oh mm,
I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I've always believed in an afterlife. Just because I too come from church trauma. Um, like I my mother is Catholic, still staunch Catholic, and my father he was curious, but he was mostly and I have goosebumps so bad right now, so that's a sign for me because I'm talking about this. My daddy was non-denominational Christian, but he was curious. So he always, liked to, you know, look around and see what other factions of Christianity were doing. And I myself am a Messianic Jew, and that is something that I kind of stopped doing for a really long time, and I've gotten back to it. But um, I've always been open to like the afterlife and reincarnation and things like that. For those of you that don't know, I was incarcerated for about 5 years. And during that 5 years, I just devoured anything that had to do with finding God. I didn't care what it was. I read the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita. I read the whole Bible many times, like just whatever I could read, I read it. And I just found like three things that were a message across all of these different religions was just basically be good and do good and love all creation, even if they make you fucking crazy. Like maybe you should love them harder if they're making you nuts. So like that opened my mind more to like reincarnation. And like, now with the work that I do believe that, there's a place that we go for a minute and maybe we make these contracts and then we come back and, you know, you know, there's how do I put this? We make these contracts and sometimes they're just for us, parts of it, and I think parts of it um are with other people, which is why I feel sometimes when I meet people that I've never met before. Like, I feel like I know this person. I feel like we've been friends forever, and I just
Mm,
instantly love them or I cannot stand
100%.
them. And that's just the way I believe. So, I mean, sure, I'm a Messianic Jew, but I'm very open. I just think I just love the tradition of the religion. I love the tradition of the high holy days. Like, I love Passover. I love Purim. I think it's really fun, but I don't take it so seriously that I feel like I don't know how else to put it, but my life depends on it. Like I'm gonna die and burn in hell. Like I don't feel that way anymore. I did for a long time. I did. I was afraid. Like even whenever I was first incarcerated, I went back to my Jewish roots and I just kind of put my head down and I ate, completely kosher. I was on the religious diet and like I didn't cuss, I didn't nothing. But I was scared, right? I was scared. And I was like, well, this is not it. Being afraid like that. I feel like my creator wouldn't want that. So, you know, I just my I, I feel like if God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, was small enough to put in one book, in one church, in one kind of church, they wouldn't be big enough to help me. So
Mm,
I'm open to everything. I'm learning new things every day.
mm.
I'm sorry, I just went off for a minute.
You're
That was
fine.
beautiful, I thought. Thank you for sharing.
I am just I have to say I am so in awe of your journey, Drea. Like you are a completely different human, and I've always loved you, period. But
Hmm.
it's just I am so happy because I see the season you're in now, and it's just you're thriving, and that is exciting. It is so exciting, and I
It's
love this.
it's taken some crazy work to get here,
It
and I feel
does.
like
It
to go
does.
back to one of the first things we were talking about, I always saw signs as a kid. I had like things, I'd hear stuff that wasn't there, I'd see things that weren't there all the time, and that's because now I know that that was a gift, and I was
Mm,
afraid of it. So I shut it off for a long time. Dave, you witnessed me drink it away. Like I just
mm,
didn't want to like know these things. And with my church trauma, like tarot cards, no, like what? Now I have 50, 11 packs of them on my shelf in there, and I use them every day. So,
mm,
I just, and then I had to go into the dark part and then come back into the light part. And then maybe you need to go back to the dark part. So I've just learned that
mhm.
healing is not like linear
Linear.
by any
Yeah.
means. It is very cyclical for me. Right now, I'm on an upswing. Who knows? Next week, I might call you crying because,
Mhm.
something happened.
That's why
And
when
it's
you were like the great shift, I'm like, my whole life is a great shift. Like
Hmm. Every
it's
5 minutes,
seasonal.
girl, every
Like
five
I
minutes.
can like always mark parts of my life by like what lessons I was learning during
you
that
got
season.
you got that Scorpio placement.
Yeah, hardcore.
I
Big
love
transformation energy.
mm. So that I feel like is validating for all of us. Like just knowing that we're all going through this similar like experience in the sense of like when we reach out and how we connect. How do you feel about this idea that we're all connected, that she drives home every chapter? But I think that's one of the main points because there's so much power and understanding what you do to me is going to happen to you because we're the same, right? And my journey is intrinsically connected to yours, whether you see it or not. I always think the ripple in the pond, right? One drop and it just keeps going. And that can, for me as an educator, that's huge for me because one light lights a thousand. You never know what idea is going to stick for your student. And then all of a sudden, 4 generations later, you have a revolution because of something. You know what I mean? Or that revolution of self-love, or it's just there's so I love it. That's where I got teary-eyed was when thinking about all the connections in my life, all the people that have invested in me and then that have helped me and pushed me forward when I didn't know how or I needed the guidance. That for me is one of the most amazing gifts of this book is just realizing it's always available to us, and we never know the value and the worth that we carry ourselves in others' lives. Mm. Uh, okay,
I struggle
just
with
yeah,
that
go for it.
one.
Yeah, go
Like
for
I
it.
love people, but I also hate people. And so I struggle with that concept when it comes to people like politically in our environment right now. Like when I see
Mhm.
certain things, I really struggle with, are we all a part of the same thing here? Because I feel like you're over here and I'm way over here. We're not even in the same atmosphere. So I think it's easy to do that when people have like positive impacts on your life. But when they're kind of shining that light on stuff that, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I
especially
don't
when
like this part so much. That's when I struggle with that concept.
it's
It's
funny that you mentioned that because I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to talk over
no, go ahead.
you guys. But the one thing I've never struggled with, like spiritually, is us all being connected. Like
Mm,
to me, that's just a no-brainer. Like
yeah,
obviously, we're all connected.
right. We're all in this together. And I
Yeah.
think that's even pundits from both sides, if you watch the news, that is the biggest thing I think everyone keeps going back and forth on. Like, we should try and find the humanity in each other. I don't want to fucking find the humanity in these people. I don't
I
because
want to
they're
punch them.
gross and vile. But this is where that deep spiritual shit comes in. Like everything is a reflection of ourselves. But I get it. I get it.
I think we're all connected. I think I believe that. But to take it maybe in the like not super shiny positive thing, what?
She just gave a reaction and I
I
loved
can't
it.
do anything there. So, um, like we talk about Scorpios, it's like there are people that are sent here that are the gift. I'm the curse. I'm not here to make you see the things that are negative about yourself or whatever. Like
Which we need.
we are all connected, and when you meet me, you're gonna see the parts of yourself that you probably don't like. So I hope you do meet me.
We need everything, yin and
We
yang,
need
right?
that. We need
Oh.
that energy.
For me,
Yeah.
it's always been, I always look at nature, and I think I've said this when we did one of our podcasts, Daniela. I always look to nature as my biggest teacher, my greatest teacher. There's more wisdom in our body than all the religions in the world, right? And if nature dies and recycles, why would our spirit, our soul, our consciousness, this energy be any different? That
Yep.
simple, right? Everything
Exactly.
continues and is recycled and comes back in a different form, whether that's, on a molecular level or atoms in space. But yes, okay. So I want to get into these stories. I am so sorry. We are having such good conversations. Is everyone doing good? I just don't want to for time. I don't want to overcommit anyone. Let's do, okay. So some of the themes, obviously, she drove them home for us multiple times, but you don't need a medium. Everyone's intuitive.
Hmm.
Signs aren't mandates. I thought this was really interesting too, because coming from that church trauma background, it's so important to realize that, again, we are being prompted for our highest good, according to Jackson, but definitely how, in my experiences, they can be really beautiful things. They don't have to be just show up when I need an answer. They can be really, just like you said, winks, little nudges, little hugs from spirit. The four orange truths, I put that in the PDF where it's just, uh, this is her worldview for sure. And her understanding of everything is that we're always constantly being watched by this other, the team of light, she calls it, and that's made up of source, past loved ones, but also these energies we haven't seen before, which is really interesting. And if you really get into it, then you're talking like, your higher self or, um, uh, like people like, again, and our angels, all these different kind of ideas and energies, things, beings that are helping with us, right? We're loved. And I think this is revolutionary for a lot of people coming into this. Just understanding that the universe doesn't have it out for us, that it isn't just cold and complacent. Like, it is wanting to be involved. It wants to guide us. That the love is the energy of source, right? And if you can tap into that, if you can see that and grasp that, that's where things really start to change, because you see the world in a different way. You know, we're all connected and invested in each other's journeys. And then also, when you ask for a sign, when you ask for guidance, it will respond. And again, from my personal experience, this is truth. And I aligned with everything she said. And that's why we're going to do the practical portion in a bit. So, cosmology, did anything stand out to any of you that made your ear perk up? Like, I never considered that, but there's something to it. Like any of, like, in between the lines. For me, um, I loved how she said we only see 15% of what's going on here, like on Earth, because everything's energetic. I was just watching something with Deepak Chopra, and he was saying, I think dragonflies, is Amanda still here? Dragonflies have like 22,000 eyes or something, right? Like their eyes segmented. So the spectrums they see and like the different energy, and like we know animals see more than us. Has anyone ever had an animal look at the corner and the wall? Freak
Yep.
you out? Yeah.
Yep. No, like literally right now. I have two cats and they're like looking in the corner and
Always cats.
yeah, I'm like, What's wrong with you?" And it's funny because Aiden and I were just talking about this last night because we're like planning our own mother-son podcast because we're actually pretty funny together. Um, and we were talking about like dimensions, and we kind of went into the spiritual thing because he's got his own church trauma, and he went to Christian private school till he just graduated. He's been there since he was in third grade. So we were talking about like, um, you know, seeing things that are not there and stuff like that. And then we started talking about cats. And there was a study that I read several years ago that said something about cats can see in like 11 dimensions. I was like, he's like, well, I'm glad we can't do that. We'd go insane. And I'm like, well, probably so. But
No,
yeah, I do believe like 15%. If we could see any more than that, I'd lose my freaking
I
mind.
wonder if we could at one point, like if when
Hmm.
we're so divorced from nature, like
Right.
Yeah.
when you live in nature, when you are
Mm.
moving with the cycles, like how many of you knew it was a full moon tonight? 100 years ago, you would know the almanac by heart. It's just,
Yeah.
it's different, right? Yeah. Curious. I definitely think you should do a podcast.
Oh, we've been planning it. It's going to be hilarious. Um, I'm going to be reading him different stories from Reddit and stuff, and he's going to be reacting. So it's going to be great. We've been working on it. So stay tuned, y'all. But no, like I do think that as humans, like you say, we were the almanac. Like we would just know it. We would feel it in our bones when the new moon was coming, when
There's a storm of brewing.
there's a
Yeah.
storm up, like you would just feel it. Like my grandma, when I was a kid, she would just go outside and just smell. And I'd be like, Mama, what are you doing? And she'd be like, oh, it's fixing to rain. I'm like, huh? And then it would rain like 10 minutes later. Like just I think the older generation can still do things like that. But those of us that have been distracted and disconnected can't so much anymore. And I think that's a lot of the problems that we have. I know it was a problem that I had just as a human being, just being disconnected. Like
Mhm.
disconnection was a lot of the reason I drank the way I did. It was a lot of the reason I did the things I did. It was because I felt disconnected and what was trying to connect to me scared me. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go drink about it over here and ruin my life. But, from that, here I am now, and I think
Excellent.
connection is a big thing, and it's something you learn about in a lot of different like either spiritual circles, and it's something I learned a lot about even when I was in 12-step recovery, is that that's the thing, is the connection with God, with source, with whatever you want to call it. Losing that connection is kind of what fucks us up.
Yeah.
And I think it's what's fucked humanity up as a whole. Now, I don't know if I want to see in 11 dimensions, but I might be open to maybe like 5 or 6.
A few
Give me
more.
like 5 or 6.
I just want to find a parking spot. Like,
Yeah. Can I just know where to park? Yeah.
Wendy, what about you? I'm curious.
Um, I was just thinking about, like you said a little earlier, that we're conditioned as we get older, through like traditional education and just, the way that, at least in the Western world, we collectively believe as a whole. And so we start teaching children the things that, we think they should know. But I think they, as babies, as children, we know a lot more than, of the spiritual world and like connection to source than we do as adults, unless we work at it. Like you have to continue to work at it, and realize that you've lost that connection too, because I think some people just don't think about it, or just, like maybe they never get there in this lifetime. Um, but I also do believe that we don't just do this one time. I think there are, I do believe in multiple lives, past lives. Um, there's like examples of it just even in my own personal experience in my own family. Um, there's a lot of women mainly in my family who have just various abilities. But also my nephew, like when he was very young, when he was born, it was one of those things where you just, we've talked about this. So I don't remember who mentioned it, maybe Drea, just like that, you like having that feeling that you've met this person before, you've known this
Mm.
person before. As soon as he was born, like the minute I laid eyes on him, I thought, okay, like this isn't the first time that we've been together, right? Um, and
I felt
he,
that with
Yes.
you. I felt that
yeah.
with you when we met. Yeah.
Thanks. We have a really weird meeting story, y'all. We won't get into that, but anyways, yeah. So he was one, and he's always had abilities. And when he was, I think, 2, he started talking about a past life, about living in a like a desert, and he talked to his parents about, and he said, I can't remember his exact words, but it was something about, my mom rode on the camel with me and my dad walked alongside. And his parents, my brother and sister-in-law, are very like sort of removed from the spiritual. They're kind of very skeptical. A lot of like, I wouldn't say church trauma, just a lot of like, no thank you, like skepticism sort of situation, right? And they're that way about everything. So like they're across the board, it doesn't matter what sort of spiritual realm or like religion or anything like that. So they are definitely sort of trying to condition some of that out of their kids. And so when he started talking about this, what I believe is a past life, past experience, they were very, very skeptical. And my mom and I were sort of the ones that were like, yeah, that's valid. That's real. That happened to you. It was very descriptive, like down to like the clothing they wore. And he's 2 years old. So there wasn't a lot there in terms of his experience here in this life with knowing what life in like Egypt or something like that may have been like. He described, I mean, and he's a little blonde white boy, okay? And he described like people with darker skin, and when he had darker skin and darker hair, and just described like facial features even. So it was very descriptive, and just very interesting. And he's also, like gone through things where he sees shadow people, um, definitely sees things. As a very young child, he wouldn't sleep with any nightlight or any lights at all. And that's sort of opposite of a lot of kids. Mostly they want lights on if they're a little bit scared of the dark or whatever. He was the opposite because he was seeing these shadow people, and if it were completely dark, he couldn't see them. And it's because he was a little bit scared of them, like he didn't want them around. And so the first time he told me about them, I said, "Okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna talk out loud to them, and you're gonna say, 'I'm trying to sleep, and you're not welcome in my room right now. You need to go.'" And just be very like frank. And he did that. I like sat with him while he did it. And he said that it started to work. Like he was seeing them less and less because it was something he didn't want. So all of that to say, I mean, we could probably all sit and tell stories for ages, but all of that to say, I think that we are, even though he's growing up in a household of, adult skeptics, right? He still was connected to those things that source his abilities, those sorts of things. Um, and if you were to talk to him now, he's 11. He would probably deny some of it and just kind of be like, well, that was just, my imagination, like the things that his parents might say to him, which to me is sad. I don't love that. So I'm sort of like the rogue aunt that
I'm,
like teaches
I'm
him
glad
the
you're a safe space for him. It sounds like he needs that in the family. You
But
know what
yeah,
I
it
mean?
just to me confirms that like when we're young, and I have, experiences from when I was young that I can remember, and I just was lucky enough to have parents who didn't invalidate that. Um, I think, my mom had tons of her own experiences, so that's sort of why. And if you want to talk about church trauma, oh gosh, she's got it all.
That's another book.
She's got it all. So yeah, I think we unlearn things that we came onto, into this life knowing. And yeah, and I think it's then up to us whether do we want to reconnect to that? Do we want to, you know, I guess rediscover those things?
Yeah. Like Heather was saying, like it's there, but like I think there's seasons where we're more connected than we are, but that's part of the journey, the learning and the reasoning, because I think there's times when that longing is there, that's what causes us to come back. You know what I mean? That lack of connection. towards the end of my marriage, there was points where like the drugs and alcohol were just getting out of control. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night just thinking, like my soul screaming, like this is not where we're supposed to be. And it would just get progressively worse. And until I finally made the choice to get uncomfortable, even though I was miserable. You know what I mean? That's the irony to act, right? And that's what forced me into this new season, this new connection, this new alignment. Mm, I love that. That's beautiful, Wendy. Let's talk about some of the stories. Did any of the stories resonate or stand out to you, and why? Greg, we haven't really heard from you. Are you in a place you can talk?
Not yet.
Okay.
But
No.
speaking of the stories, the one about the deer coming up to the the widow or the mother, I thought was really resonating with me. My mom passed away several years back. I'm sorry, the music's on. And I've been wanting to reach out and connect with her, and I haven't really done any of the things that she talks about in the book to open myself up or in order to receive signals. So that's something that I'd like to do.
That's what we're doing next. So you get your wish.
Yes.
How about you, Mom? You're the one with some of these giftings yourself.
That's
You
you.
got some
Oh, me?
residents.
Oh.
So yeah. I'm curious about your experience because you do a lot of what you have ability like she does, right? So, well, I mean, in your own facet, but
Yeah. I will tell you, everything in this book has just, I've experienced the same. Um, so it was just a reminder for me as I was listening to it, and I'm like, oh yeah, we did this. Oh yeah, that happened. Oh, and I'm like, I got so excited all over again. I'm like, and I was looking forward to tonight to just hear everybody's, opinion about the book and the skepticism and the people that are living this and even her, she's like, I don't know if we're all connected. I'm like, what?
That's not what I said.
That's what I heard.
I said we are all connected.
Oh.
But I think we all have different roles to play.
Oh,
So,
yes.
right. So like some people, like we were talking about the positivity of being all connected, but I don't think that it needs to be like sometimes you're put in someone's life to be the lesson.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I was saying.
Got it. So yeah, a lot of those examples, I think everybody, well, I will speak for myself. I know I've gone through a lot of those examples. And so it was fun hearing it all over again because it brought me back to my own examples of what had happened. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, about nature and coming back. Because yeah, I always tell people, especially my mother, my own mother, I said, just look at what's happening outside your front door. The leaves fall, they come back, trees die, they rejuvenate. Same with plants. You cut a piece off and here comes another one. You just how can you miss that? That's just, my experience because I've been living this since I was a child. And I too am Catholic, but we were not brought up strict Catholics. So my experience was started with the church. You have a young child going to church with their mom and dad, and you have nothing to do. You don't have any, I didn't have any siblings. So I would just sit there. I'd be looking around, and then what captured my attention was this big crucifix over the altar. And I just started talking to him in my mind. And I'm like, when he answered back, I'm like, I like coming to church. He's my sign, but I don't have that religious tied to that, what people call Jesus. I don't know him like in a religious standpoint like that. He's very spiritual for me. And so my go-to sign, and we've had this happen so many times. Anytime she freaks out, we have
Your
anytime she
mother and
freaks
daughter, I
out.
don't know if anyone caught that.
I was wondering what story you were going to bring up.
Of course, that's the one you brought up last time. Yeah. She freaks out. Mom, is this gonna happen? I'm like,
Hold on. No, let me close it. So, because you're not telling it right already. So when I first moved to Orlando, my mom helped me move down. And so we drove like a U-Haul down here. And the reason there's like all this you know, whatever you want to call this, because I've had my own journey, with my gift and all this stuff and I, anyway. So like I walked away from it for a period of time. So this was in that period of time where I had been like, I'm done. Like I'm walking away. So
From spirituality, you mean, or like,
yeah,
okay.
I like didn't close myself off completely, but like I was like, I'm done trying to figure all of this out. Like kind of like Drea was saying, it's the noises are loud. I'm not doing this anymore, especially if I can't understand it. And I drove the U-Haul and it was under my name. I didn't get the insurance for it because I was like 21 and broke. And so I asked my mom to drive it in, like, I was scared of driving it on four. And so I was like, can you, like, we have to get on four to drive it to the place and I'm supposed to drop it off. And so we had to get gas. And so we pulled off somewhere close to downtown. And it was like, there was a gas station right off of the exit. So, like, coming off the off ramp, the gas station was like basically you'd have to turn off from the off ramp to get into the gas station. So my mother pulls into the gas pump, hits the curb,
it
and
wasn't the curb. It was the thing that protects the gas
no,
pump.
see, no. So the tire hit like the cement curb around the pump. And then the like concrete U thing got lodged in between the truck, like the wheel well and the tire. We could not drive forward or backwards. It was stuck. And so I immediately was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I did not get the insurance on this stupid truck. And just freaked out because it was already like a really hard move and like everything was already just getting super real. And so my mom is like, anytime I panic, she's super chill. So she was like, everything's fine. Let's just like figure it out. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like starting to like spiral. And then she turns around and there's like a tree back next to the gas station, like the actual like building. And there's a piece of wood nailed to the tree of all things, and it said Jesus.
No.
Yes.
No, it was the image.
No, it said Jesus. It just said Jesus.
Oh, I saw an image. Okay.
So I'm like freaking out, and she's like just looking around, like chilling out, and she goes, "Look, see?" And she's like pointing to the Jesus wood, and she's like, "Everything's gonna be okay." And I was like, "No, like it's not."
The truck is still on the cement.
But to the credit of the universe and my mom and whatever, the most freak like set of events happened after that. So like we called a tow truck because there was no way to move it. The gas station attendant came out, tried to help. He couldn't help. The tow truck people came and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know how to get it out." And like they were just like they weren't even supposed to come to see us. So when they like got our information, they were like, "Oh wait, no, you are not the person I was supposed to meet. Like somebody else called me." And so then the tow truck people that I had called or that my mom called me and they were like, "Where exactly are you?" And my mom was like, "Never mind, we don't need you. We already have our people." And then they got the car out without damaging it at all, or the truck. They did, I don't know what they did. Whatever they did. They worked their magic. They got
pushed it off.
Yeah. And no damage at all to the truck. And then they were like this like older Jamaican, like two guys, these older Jamaican guys, super chill. Like I'm still freaking out. And they're like, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. Nothing's gonna happen. And my mom's like laughing with them, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose
The
my
lesson for you, right?
And then I was still very nervous, and I was like, I can't let my mom drive this car again because I'm not going to make the same mistake twice, which means that I have to drive the truck to the drop-off location. And then one of the guys offered to drive it for me.
I
And
asked him to drive it.
okay, well, and then he did, and then it was fine. And then they never charged me for anything extra.
There was a big scratch that we caused downside the truck.
Me?
Okay, me. But anyway, they didn't charge us because guess what was on the paperwork? There was a scratch that somebody wrote on there. There wasn't even that scratch.
It was a brand new truck, and I remember when I picked it up, they told me it was a brand new truck, and I was like, cool, 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 cool. It's a brand new truck. And yes, for I don't remember them writing that, but someone in the paperwork had written there's a scratch right here, and there wasn't, but there
All,
was when we dropped
all
it off.
because of Jesus would.
Yeah.
I love
That's, I will tell you, talk about having a sign. That's my personal sign. But there was a moment that she reflected in the book about a job. Somebody was leaving a job. And then someone she fought it, right? She fought leaving the job. And then she walked away and realized that other things happened. That moment also resonated with me. Talk about a sign. I was asked to leave my job, not by my job, but by the universe. Well, we had started a business by that point, and the business was getting big. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't afford to leave my job to go work this business, whatever. I said, Jesus, if you want me to, this is me talking to the universe. Jesus, if you want me to leave my company after 10 years, you got to show me a sign. I go to work the same 10 years, going the same route, like a little donkey going down the road. I have never once seen this happen. So I'm going down the road. I'm talking on the phone on the way to work. All of a sudden, I look up a billboard of Jesus, a billboard. I'm like, okay, I know I'm a little dense sometimes, but Jesus,
timing, right?
that really, you got me there. I went right in and gave my notice, never looked back.
So to pull this all back, there is something with signs that is very important that she talks in chapter 10 about how to spot a sign. And I have a PDF coming out for us for this next section or part that we're going to do, but how to recognize a sign. And it's really something that's unusual or odd, out of place, a weird occurrence, what it makes you feel, the sensation you get, if you get a reaction, especially in your body, or it makes you think like it's more than just coincidence, like there's an impression made, right? And then timing, the timing
Right.
of it. So like you're thinking or you're going through a certain thing in your life. This is the three things that are going to let you know if it's more than a coincidence, right? And it becomes a lot easier to spot these things when you're seeing them more often, right? You just get more comfortable with it. I love this. Any other stories that stuck out? I love the one about the bride and the hummingbird and the light coming on her. Like that was just with the father that passed. I loved that. That's so beautiful. I've seen some experiences and had some experiences in my life with, again, just natural occurrences, but just the timing is irrefutable. Just you can't deny it.
Yeah, that
Heather,
bird
yeah,
story was my favorite one, the
yeah.
hummingbird, just because of the connection I have with my daddy and cardinals. And the story behind that is that my dad, before he like made all his money, he used to be like an audiovisual engineer for like Fox News. And he would take me to baseball games and stuff with him. And I was a kid, I didn't really care. I didn't know what was going on. And this one time we made a bet on the game. See, now my body's lighting up. That's every time I talk about my daddy, my body lights up. That's how I know he's here. And um we made this bet and it was like the Yankees and the Cardinals were playing and he's like, pick a team. And I was like, well, I like the blue one. And he goes, okay, I'm gonna go with the bird. The bird's mine. And so like forever, I was a Yankees fan and he was a Cardinals fan, and we just would go at it about these two teams. So when he passed away, I went to the zoo in DC with my mama, and we were just walking around, and there was just like three little cardinals walking in a row. And I just missed my dad so bad that day. And my mom took me to the zoo to cheer me up. And these animals at the zoo that had nothing to do with being in the zoo, they were just there. And like now, I know whenever I'm feeling down or sad or doubting myself, I will see a cardinal and my body will light up like it just did. Which I think that's why that story resonated so well with me.
Hmm.
That was because birds are my sign too.
I, birds, Sarah says birds are her sign a lot too. Heather, what about you?
I just thought that um the one with the playing cards and finding like with family members and like that was an incredible story to me.
Yeah,
Like the fact that it involved
the Queen of
multiple
Hearts.
family members and like the specific and to find it like randomly in the woods, like on the ground in the woods, like that was just like whoa. I don't know that one for not that I've experienced that particularly myself. Some of the other ones resonate more, or I've had experiences similar. But that one to me just kind of like stood out because it involved multiple people. And one, if I remember right, was pretty skeptical. And the fact that they then also found a Queen of Hearts um, just was like, I don't know. I just thought that was a cool story. And
In
I,
Vietnam, I think she said, right? She was like on vacation in Vietnam,
yeah,
chilling
yeah,
in the jungle and like, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like how to, yeah, right. And maybe they have playing cards there more
Well,
than
of
I know.
course,
I
but
don't freaking
what
know,
in the jungle in your
but in the
path at that time when you're thinking like
right,
that's what
like
makes it, right?
yeah, it's like this is not just like a coincidence, like that was a very compelling story to me.
And then seeing it on tattoos and like, yeah, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that's exactly how it works. It's oh. What about you, Miss Diana? Did any of the
Um,
stories stand out?
yeah, I liked the addict son story the most. I
Yes,
mean,
that was powerful.
yeah, and it kind of made me think of like my parents because they had a really rough go of it, and I like to think they're at peace now.
Mm.
So I think that one really resonated with me the most.
Wow, yeah, that and one of the lines where she said, "My son never wished me a happy birthday,"
Yeah.
and for him to move and purposely, oh, that gives me goosebumps. Sarah, none of them.
No, I like all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I find the beauty in all of those stories.
So I wanted to share one with the animals and this book. So this is a perfect example, and then I'll kind of wrap this up and we'll go into what we're going to do for our next session, which is going to be, I think, a lot more interesting for us because it's about us, right? Um, but while I was reading this book, it was a few months before everything really started to initiate for my divorce. And things were coming to a head. And I'll share some more signs that happened next week when we get together. But this, again, I started with this book in here. Let me get the shared page. I'm distracted. Um,
Did you say next week?
I'm sorry. No, no, no. Next session. Sorry.
Oh,
Session,
okay.
yeah.
Just I
Um,
feel like I'm just wanted to make sure I didn't have that wrong.
I also was a little bit like, uh-oh,
uh-oh.
soon.
So, um, I had a diabetic cat, and he was kind of declining towards like the last few years, and uh, he wasn't doing great. And going through the tension of the divorce and the coming separation, cats are sensitive to energy. Our animals are sensitive to energy, right? And so it was palpable, obviously. And I just noticed he started declining more. And he ended up passing the day after I moved out of the house, like the final like separation. And it and of course, like it was just a shock, curious, the timing though, very curious about everything. And again, that'll come up later, but I obviously didn't touch this book for a while, but while I was it caught us off guard, so we wanted to get him a headstone. And so I was going through, I wanted to put a quote on there. I was really excited to put a quote on there. And just an animal bond sometimes is more deep than our family, like relationships, you know what I mean? Because they're involved in our life personally every day. They're our children, you know? But so we found there's two quotes we were going back and forth on. I wanted one and my ex wanted another, but we went with his. And I was on vacation or something, and about a month later, I picked up this book again, and I read the last few pages of the last chapter. And as I turned the page, I was thinking about Bentley that day. And as I turned the page, this quote came up that she had started the chapter with animals about. So I'm reading this book on signs, and there's the quote I wanted to use for his gravestone, starting the chapter about animals that have passed in our relationship with him. Synchronicity, coincidence, but I knew it was a sign from my Bentley. Like I just knew that it was peace, like it's okay, it's still here. Again, whatever that is for you in that moment, for me, it was love, right? And I was overwhelmed and I started sobbing on a plane like a crazy person. So there was that. So great trip, but yeah, and there it was. And so even with this book, Bentley chose to send me this sign that happened at the same, time that I was going through this grieving with him, But until one has loved an animal, part of one's soul remains unawakened. I just love that. So let's talk about next our practical exam. So we're going to put her teachings in action. We're going to kind of put our money where our mouth is, kind of thing, right? So what I'm thinking for this next get together, we are going to ask for our own personal signs. And this isn't to prove anything, or it's just to open ourselves up and to see what's out there. I know what I know, so it doesn't matter. But Heather, you're talking about you want to try and get, this is what I want the group to do. I want to explore and have some practical applications with some of the works that we're doing, right? So we're going to ask for two different signs. I want to ask for one general, and we're going to go, again, on the PDF, I have her breakdown of how to do this, like, the method to do it. Again, if you ask for a sign and your intention is to connect, you're going to you're going to get something. You know what I mean? I promise. But she says, uh, that you want to, quiet yourself, try and get in that meditative space, just quieting yourself, sitting back, taking some time, making a sacred space or um, just a silent space, right? So you can close down that logical mind and just set that intention, right? Make it intentional. And we're going to just ask whatever pops into your head, or you can be very methodical. I want, a blue mushroom, like whatever you want, but we're going to ask for it, just a general, ask, and we're going to give a time limit within 3 days or sooner. And just let it happen, let it come. So this can be anything. It can be anything from your world, anything, but I want you to record it. I want you to set the time, like, a little experiment. And I want you to record your feelings. Like, do you feel foolish asking the ether for a blue mushroom? Is there resistance in the body? Is there joy? Are you excited? Are you elated to get your sign? Like that, what are the feelings that are conjuring up? So this is more of an awareness thing. We're just really checking in with ourselves and see where we're at. But I'm excited because I know how this works. So I'm excited that we're going to get some signs that are gonna titillate. So I'm excited for this. So anything general, this is fun and frivolous, So any sign. Next, we're going to, after we get the sign, because we're going to get it, because she says in the book, we're going to get her sign, right? After that, we're going to do the same process again, but we're going to ask for something that is more personal to us, something that we're going through right now in this season of our life, something we need guidance on, something that you need direction for. Uh, again, just a little more weight to this. And it can be, again, simple to like, I need a parking spot to should I leave my husband? Like whatever that is, because that's how I got my sign with my husband. I knew I had to leave this. It was toxic. I knew it, but I had to know when, like if the timing was right. And I asked for a very particular sign and I got it in spades. So I can't wait to share that with you next time. But Spirit will communicate with you. It will. The universe will send you what you need because you're in tune with it, whether you realize it or not. So, same thing. We're going to record like this feels silly. Like, I don't know. What if I don't get my sign? Like, just record your feelings, sensations in the body. Again, do you feel like a pit in your stomach or is it very like, I can't get out of my head, like the doubt? Just be aware and put this stuff down, so you can look back on it. So we're going to record it. And again, I'm going to have a lot of these like little hints and things she was talking about, like the process and like how to be open, how to be receptive and stuff in the PDF. So before we come back, we're going to do our homework. We're going to ask for a sign within 3 days or less and see what happens. How's this sound to everyone? Yeah? Are we kind of excited? Are we curious?
Yeah, but now I find myself like, you guys, do you the asks, like, I know I'm overthinking it, and that's part
Yes,
of the
you are. You see, you know it. You know what you did. It's simple, just simple.
uh,
I got that PDF for you. So it's going to give you just a quick like default signs, a lot of the things, just some recap of what she said throughout the different chapters. But yeah, don't overthink it. You are worthy. You are connected. Like it's just asking. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's no you're not going to lose anything from this, right? It's just a test. It's just to play with the universe.
So for the time period, both of these have to be 3 days or less.
I would say on the if you're asking a big thing, like should I buy this house? The formula that she says is you set the time frame. One of the
Okay.
things with manifesting is you always want to say, I need it by this time, being specific or sooner. And she mentions that in there too. But all your manifestation gurus, because you don't want to limit the universe at the same time. You want to ask for it, but you don't want to box it in either. Like there are a million ways that it can get this sign to you. So why limit it? And then spirit likes to surprise us. They like to like I said, titillate. They like to they catch us off guard and to make us go, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do 3 days and then I'll probably do like 5 days for the next one or sooner.
Okay.
And we'll just see what happens. Just for funsies. Sound good, guys?
So
I'll send
we're
that.
still
Yeah.
invited back next time if we don't get our sign right.
Yes. But
Okay,
see,
good.
already, there's a faith component to this too. You got to be open or what she says, receptive. Don't go
Yeah.
into it already doubting it. This is if you're a scientist, you are just looking for the truth. So we're just going to be objectively asking for a sign. See what happens. This is a science experiment. I have a book for you after this too. Yeah, I'm curious to talk about. But yeah, this should be fun. I want it to be fun. And like, again, there's what's the word I'm looking for? The phrase like there's no skin in the deal. Do you guys know
Skin
what
in
I'm
the
saying?
Skin in the
game.
game?
Yeah, there you go. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's okay if it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? It's gonna work out. You'll see. I promise. But I can't wait to come back and share. And if it doesn't, you're still invited back. I promise. But I think there's going to be a lot of amazing things coming out of this. So, yay! It was so good
so
seeing
for
you
our
guys.
next meeting together, we're gonna talk about this stuff then,
And
and then
then,
also that other book,
so
or
yep, let me share. And so pretty much it's going to be yeah talking about this stuff and then we're going to introduce the next book which is let me see share screen. I already put up a little video for it but I'll probably do a little. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Where's the best place to look? Because I actually took a break from social media and now I'm like, am I missing some stuff, or is there like just go to the Facebook page, or is there another space that I
Everything is going to be on the Facebook page, but I
oh,
also have my YouTube channel where I also put the same videos up. Or just message me. Message me. I'll keep you in the loop. The Facebook page and the Davyinity email is where I'm going to send out everything though. So that's going to
okay.
have the links and like I'll put out our new book and stuff like that too to keep everyone on the same page. But this is that science book, so I'm glad he is I believe, a PhD in organic chemistry. So it's really interesting to see that scientific perspective
Yeah.
of a lot of these things like placebo effect and um, manifestation and consciousness. Like it's just really because this is his field. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This one has more like science based, like it's more methodical, but I guess we could argue that Jackson was a little too formulaic, but he just examines a topic at a time. It obviously feeds all together, but yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you guys think with that. So yeah, grab a copy of that and start reading on that whenever you're ready.
Can I ask a couple other like questions,
Absolutely.
random questions, you guys? Does everybody know each other? Like, do you guys all know each other from other, like, are you all in Florida? Or
A little all over. Sarah, you want to
really?
take it? Yeah. I guess we could do a little quick introduction if you want.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. We did this last week, but we got some new members
Sorry,
now too. No, I love
late
it.
to the
No,
game.
I'm all about it. I love talking. Sarah, you want to start?
I'm Sarah. I'm Dave's sister. I'm in Florida.
I remember meeting you a few years ago, like when we were doing like a book where you started something and then it didn't fruition kind of deal. And I believe you were on that as well.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, nice to re-meet you, but
Nice to meet you.
I'm Heather and I'm in Minnesota. And yeah, I met Dave online and someday we'll be in person too.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Greg. I'm also in Florida, and I'm a friend of Dave's from a while back. Nice to
Awesome.
meet you.
Nice to meet you all. Excited.
I'm Diana. I'm in Florida. I met Dave exactly once at a yoga class a couple weeks ago. It was just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago, a week ago.
I'm Drea. I've known Dave for damn near 20 something years now. We met at Disney. I am currently in Kentucky. I live with one of my sisters. Um, but yeah, we used to be neighbors at one point. Like he bought
Hmm.
a house directly across the street from me, and I think that was for a reason because there's been things that he has said to me that I carried with me through my incarceration, and that kind of got me through some tough times. And it was just beautiful to see like the change in Dave because I think we had like one phone call between you and your ex, like all three of us on a FaceTime when I got out. And then to see like what has happened since is just really beautiful and I love it. Yeah. It's nice to see you and nice to be seen.
That makes my heart so happy.
I'm Daniela, and this is my mom, Adriana. We're also in Florida, and I met Dave. I mean, I guess also through Disney, but through a mutual friend.
I'm Wendy and I'm in Michigan. And I know Dave from college years. We won't say how many years ago. That was a long time ago. Um, but yeah, we've just kind of stayed close over the years. So
And now you're part of the group.
here I am.
Well, and then was it Amber, the other gal that we lost on here?
So Amber,
When she said up north, I'm like, well, what does that mean to
she's in Michigan too. I
Okay.
actually just went to Egypt with her last year. and she was in the tour group. And there's a few people from that group in the book club. Zelda was here last week. She's friends with Amanda, but yeah, just picking my bouquet of people through
I
life.
love it. I love this. It's great to meet you all. Thank you.
I'm excited you're here. Guys, I love you. I am so happy you're here. And I hope you're getting something out of this. And I would love feedback too. Seriously, let me know if there's topics or suggestions. Just message me. Like if there's direction you want to take, we're building this together. So I am open to all of it. So I hope you guys have a good weekend.
You too, Dave.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Ask for your signs.
Yeah.
Make it hard too. Make it a good one. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.